Thinking about upsizing in today's market, there are a lot of myths holding it back, like needing a 20% or more down payment, taking a big chunk of mortgage, and so many. In this episode, we are busting the top upsizing myths so you can make smart, confident.
Hello everyone, my name is Parth Soni. I am with Navjot today. In this episode of Real Estate MythBusters, we are talking about all the upsizing myth you might have.
So let's go to the myth number one.
The very first one we heard most of the time is coming up with 20% down payment or more.
So yeah, that's pretty common, and it's natural that people think that the minimum down payment or 10% down payment option is only for first-time home buyers, right? That's a very common myth. But a lot of people don't know that that is not for first-time home buyer. It's for the primary users of the home.
Yeah.
So as long as you are the primary user, whichever home you're buying is your first or your last or your 10th home, you can buy that home with minimum down payment or 10% or whichever down payment you like, as long as you qualify for the mortgage.
Yes. So you don't need to come up with 20% or more down payment as long as you are planning to occupy that property as a primary residence.
So the biggest but in this situation is mortgage qualification.
Yes.
So that's why it's very important for you to have a good mortgage broker or a bank on your side. So they will tell you that, okay, you can go ahead, buy next property, and this is what your qualification looks like.
Yeah, so that's a very first step, especially if you are someone who's keeping your first house and planning to buy the next one, because you may need to qualify for more depending on the individual situation. So make sure you understand all that criteria, work with a mortgage agent or work with a bank and understand that.
Moving on to next, is this a right market for upsizing? That's one question. I think I have been asked that question multiple times over the last 2-3 years. And there is no definite answer to this question unless we look at the overall market scenario, right? What is the biggest worry people have is what price they will sell their home for and what they will buy for, right? So there is a gap. Let's talk about the gap. When the market was going high, say you are selling your home for, say, like in 700-800 price range, and you are buying your next home was for 1.2, 1.3 price. That was the scenario. And if you buy first in that market, when the market is going up, it was in your favor because you can buy. But when you sell, you may sell more for more than what the market was giving. But there was a little bit uncertainty and there was risk. When the market is balanced, it's not going anywhere, you know definitely that this is what you're going to sell for and this is what you can expect to buy. So in that market, you can either buy first with the sale of buyer property or sell first and then buy later because you will know your numbers, right?
Yes, 100%.
And we are right now in a declining market. Still, it's not stable yet. Some of the neighborhoods or some cities, you might say that it's stable, but I don't think it's a general statement. Yeah.
Yes. So you have to see what kind of market you are in, especially as Navjot mentioned, we are in a declining market as of right now. So definitely, if you have all the means, if you have the need, it does make sense to upside as of right now, even though you will get less for the property that you currently have. But when you're buying a bigger property, you will also pay less at that point of time. So it's absolutely a good time if you have your finance and means to do that.
So there's a mathematical formula people can always look at. If your home you have right now is say $800,000, the home you want to buy is somewhere in $1 million price range. If the market goes up by 20%, your $800,000 home will be $960,000, but your $1 million property will be $200,000. So the difference, which is around $200,000 right now, it will be $240,000. Usually the proportion doesn't work the same way, but we are taking a general mathematical formula, right?
Totally agree.
So that's why declining market, you are selling for maybe not 800, maybe you're selling for 700, but the property which was $1 million could be now 850, So the delta between and the gap is going down because the market is coming down.
And that's the absolute good thing for someone who's upsizing. And there's one more thing you need to know, like what neighborhood your current house is in as of right now, because there are some pockets in the KWC region in which townhouses are very premium. They don't often come into market. Let's say if you have a townhouse in a uptown in Waterloo, then it's a very premium pocket. Not many townhomes are down there. And if you are selling, then definitely you will be advantageous as of right now, and depending on where you are buying as well.
The biggest thing to consider for people upsizing is if you have a home in a starter price range, say in Kitchener-Waterloo, starter price range is $500,000 to $700,000. So starter price range, I mean the first-time home buyer can afford that price in that market. So that if you are selling your home in that price range, you are not only targeting first-time home buyer, but you are also targeting downsizers as well as the investors. So there are three kind of different buyers who might be willing to buy your property. And when you will be upsizing to a bigger home, it will be only upsizers in competition, not three different category of buyers.
So only families like you looking to upsize. That's pretty much it. Investor don't go for those kind of properties like single families unless and until it's a good duplex where it can cash flow or have good long-term value or appreciation.
Mostly this same statement applies for people who are relocating as well. So especially like I was working with a client who was relocating from Woodstock to Kitchener. So the market hierarchy wise, Kitchener is at the high end of prices versus Woodstock. So if you are moving from Woodstock to Kitchener, it's a kind of an upsize move. So the same principle, same mathematical factors apply. If you're waiting for your home to go up in value, then the home you are going to buy will go up in value as well, unless you secure a home pre-construction and you know for sure that by the time your new home is ready, your existing home will go up in value, and you're taking a big risk there.
Great. And there is one more thing I want to put. You mentioned like there is a one condition in which when you are buying something, you can put a condition that sale on your property. Now, in perfect world, it does make sense to put that condition, but when you want to do a practical things out there, not many time the seller of the property that you want to buy will agree on to that. So make sure you understand that the rule as well.
The best way to see if this is the right time for you to, upsize, you need to look at the two numbers. First thing is those two numbers as like the home you want to upsize to. Say you have a 2,000 square feet home, which is trading in the market at $800,000, but taking 10 days to sell, and within 10 days, it's selling. But the home you want to buy is $1 million home, and there is no competition there, so it's taking 30 to 60 days to sell. So you have an advantage there. You can buy that home where there is no competition, and you can negotiate a price, but have a sale of buyer's property, and make sure you are ready to sell your home when you are securing the next home. So when you secure it, you can have a 15 days sale of buyer property, and within 50 days, if you and your realtor work together and you do have all your ducks in the row, you can sell your home and firm up in next 15 days, and you will know exactly what numbers you are looking. That is one of the best way to upsize in this market, because you need to see data as well. You just don't rely on anyone's word. You need to ask us data. So is data really supporting our statements? Because data matters. If we can show you in numbers that the upsizing does make sense and the strategy we are using is working based on the actual facts, not just the fake promises, that definitely that realtor is good for you, and that strategy will definitely help you upsize.
Yeah. It's all about having a smooth and a good transaction, so you are confident and you can make a smart move, especially when you have a data backed up by all the things that is happening in the market. The other myth many people have is that when they are buying a bigger property, it's the best investment for them. In many cases, that might not be the true, because what we are seeing with the new homes right now, you might have a bigger square feet inside the house, but the lot size are shrinking day by day, especially with the new construction and new homes coming up.
I've seen in Oakville, the homes which are $3 million, $4 million, the newer homes, they are about 5,200 square feet, 6,000 square feet, and their backyards are smaller than a 2,000 square feet detached home in Kitchener, because their backyards are limited and their side yards are negligible. So in some cases, in some of the newer construction, you cannot even park 2 cars on the way because of the overall design. So the number of parking spots are getting compromised these days because of the sidewalks and shrinking driveway size, because builders get paid based on the living square feet they sell, not mostly because of the lot size they offer. So they try to maximize the space and try to build as big a house as possible. And a lot of time, their salesmen are good at fooling people of that this is a big home and it will be a good investment. But when the home actually gets delivered, a lot of people see those disappointments. I would say, especially if someone is upsizing and if they are buying with a builder, need to consider the overall coverage of that home and what kind of backyard they will get, or what kind of driveway size they are supposed to get. And they need to have all those answers before they sign the contract. If they don't have those answers, it means either they're taking bigger risk or those answers are being hidden from them intentionally.
Yeah. 100% agree, especially when you have seen prices like relatively low compared to what is selling in the neighborhood, like especially the Oakville project which happened right now. I'll not name the builder or anything. It's a $1.2, $1.3 million detached property. But if you see the depth of those homes, those are less than like 60 feet, 70 feet, which is not standard, which is not ideal. So you might have to compromise somewhere if the prices are very low and not good to be true.
So what can you do if you're upsizing? If you are upsizing, one of the best way, if you are cash rich, buy the properties which are old. Because if the foundation can easily survive depending upon the kind of foundation, and once you get it inspected by a proper professional, the foundations last anywhere from 80 years to 150 years. Anything foundation up, you can always replace. But the framing structures of home built in 1980s to 2010, those 30 years, they were pretty solid. And those homes, you can change everything apart from the original structure. The roof has an age, so you need to change that. So keep that in account. Keep the drywalls, you most likely don't have to change. You just need to paint it. And, the exterior wise, if it is a vinyl siding or it's a brick, you want to change it to stone or have full brick, you can have that cost in account because those are all decorative items. As long as the original structure is intact, everything else can be changed. And more cash rich you are, better deal you can get in the market, because there are a lot of homes with half an acre land, and you can customize everything in those homes as long as they are not heritage. And if you do your proper due diligence, you do your maths properly, you might be able to land on a way better deal than buying a home from a builder. And the home will be customized based on your own taste.
100%. So to give you an example of this one, you could end up buying a 60 feet lot rather than a 30 feet lot in a new build. So make sure you understand all that options, especially as Navjot mentioned, if you have a cash rich, go for those kind of properties, 60 feet, 70 feet lot, because those are vintage. You cannot get in new construction anymore. And if you have money, you can just update the house itself and just be in a really nice, mature neighborhood rather than a very new subdivision.
One last thing we want to talk about is when you're upsizing and you have built enough equity that you can support your next home cash, but you still want to upsize. One thing which a lot of people do, they buy either vacant land, cash, or they buy a small detached home on a bigger parcel of land. As long as the zoning allows for a higher coverage ratio, they usually demolish it and rebuild. Rebuilding is not as expensive as buying from the builder, and it will be called a custom estate home instead of a builder cookie cutter home. So there are multiple options when you're upsizing, and depending upon your overall health of home equity account, you might be able to do wonders with your existing equity and your savings. And in some cases, you might be able to upsize at a zero additional mortgage. How to do it, where to do it, give us a call and stay tuned for our next episode.
Thanks for watching.